It's supernatural.
Hello, Sid Roth here. Welcome to my world, where it's naturally supernatural. I just hope that you can breathe in, and you can breathe in the rarefied air of heaven. Because wherever that air is, there's healing. It's a river. And there is a river in this studio. I know that your whole paradigm for end times is about to be turned upside down. Why? Because you have been instructed man's opinion from the West, his understanding of end-time Bible prophecy. What if you looked through the lens from the East, where the Bible was originally written? You would have an entirely different end-time perspective. But here is the thing I want to caution you, and I want to warn you. Study the scriptures, show yourself approved, and think for yourself. Amen. Yes. I can't wait for you to hear this interview. I have a guest that in his wildest imagination, he never thought he would be sitting opposite a Jewish man and loving him. Why? He was born in a city that you're very familiar with, Bethlehem, as Micah says, Bethlehem of Judea. And he was raised to hate the Jew. He was raised to be a terrorist bomber. He actually released a bomb, I believe it was in Bethlehem. You wanted to kill Jewish people. And the thing that I find very, very interesting is you came to the United States and you were with an organization that was a forerunner of groups that we hear in the news all the time. A forerunner of Hamas, Al-Qaeda, the Muslim Brotherhood. I mean, we hear this in the news all the time. A lot of the Middle East countries, their new freedom is allowing them to vote, and many are getting into office from the Muslim Brotherhood. What were you taught by this organization in America? Why were you part of it?
Well, you said it. I wanted to kill Jews. In America, we were planning for jihad in America, for destruction, mayhem, and all kinds of things. What part of kill Americans don't get? The Council of American Islamic Relations that says we are a peaceful entity was born from the IAP, Islamic Association of Palestine, branch Hamas in the U.S. Hamas was active in the U.S. My mentor, Jamal Saeed, he was a colleague of Abdullah Azzam. Most Americans don't understand. I say those names like Abdullah Azzam. Abdullah Azzam was the godfather of Al-Qaeda. Most Americans don't know that the real godfather of Al-Qaeda was not a Saudi. He was a Palestinian from Jenin.
Well, let me ask you about this Muslim Brotherhood, because they seem to be winning a lot in the elections in these new democracies in the Middle East. They appear, I mean, they're accepted in the United States, on our television, in the White House. Are they kind of peace-loving as opposed to radical?
Absolutely radical. There is no such thing as peace-loving Muslim Brotherhood. Muslim Brotherhood is the umbrella organization that gave birth to all the Islamic terrorism.
I know, but they appear to be peace-loving.
Well, they play the flow chart. You know, there's a very simple flow chart. Do an uprising, the people uprise, the governments begin to clamp down on the uprising, then the media goes there and begins to film from CNN, BBC, and all these things. Then they begin to call for democracy. And then, of course, you know, what better word to use for the West? We want democracy. And the West is happy to think, well, wait a minute, maybe what we are having here is Islamic democracy. So Islamic democracy is like saying capitalistic communism. It doesn't exist. So the West is basically fooled by the words of democracy. 75% of the Egyptian government now is in the parliament is Muslim fundamentalist. And then, of course, after they take over the government, out with democracy. In the Middle East, yeah, sure, they'll use democracy. It's one man, one vote, once. And that's it.
Okay. The description from the Muslim holy books of their Messiah is a mirror image of the Christian description of the Antichrist. Why do you say that?
Absolutely. Everything about the Islamic Messiah. Islam is not void from Messianism, by the way. They have what is called the Mahdi. The Mahdi, by the way, is a Messiah to both Sunni and Shia. All Muslims must believe in this coming Messiah. And everything in the Bible that talks about what is called the Antichrist is there in Islam about the Islamic Messiah. If Daniel talked about the Antichrist making a 7-year covenant, Islam taught about the Mahdi creating 7 years of peace. If it talks about some of the martyrs that were beheaded or Israel being invaded by the Antichrist, Islam taught how the Mahdi will even unify Turkey and Iran to advance against Israel. Let's see, Gog and Magog rings a bell here. If it talks about the Trinity in the Bible, Islam says that the Mahdi will come and denounce the Trinity, that they will come and they will destroy the cross. They will break the cross. From everything in Daniel, Revelation, you can think of. The rider of the white horse in the book of Revelation. By the way, Muslims take pride about what's in Revelation regarding the rider of the white horse. That's the Mahdi. That's Imam Mahdi to the Shia. That's the Mahdi of the Sunnis as well. So in every aspect in the Bible, when you read Antichrist or the man of sin, and you look at the definition of the man of sin, it is in Islam.
Listen, you were able to think outside of the box to become a believer in Jesus. Wait till you hear as he thinks outside of the box, confined only to the words of the living God and looking through the lens of the East as opposed to the lens of the West, some conclusions he comes up with, you will be literally shocked. Don't go away. We'll be right back. I'm shocked by the conspiracy of silence by the news media concerning the dangerous results about the recent election in Egypt. On June 24th, by the narrowest of margins, only 51%, a member of the Muslim Brotherhood, Mohamed Morsi, became president-elect of Egypt. One of his main spokesmen shared before thousands the ultimate goal of Morsi's election. Quote, "Our capital shall not be Cairo, Mecca, or Medina. It shall be Jerusalem. Our cry will be millions of martyrs march towards Jerusalem. Yes, Jerusalem is our goal. We shall pray in Jerusalem, or else we will die as martyrs on its threshold." End quote. On top of this shocking declaration, Iran has announced future joint military exercises in the Mediterranean with Russia and China. What a dangerous alliance. These are such dangerous times for Israel and for the world. We must understand that the events we are now reading in our newspapers and watching on television newscasts are predicted in the prophecies of the Bible. We'll be back with Walid Shoebat in just a moment.
We'll be right back to It's Supernatural.